Tyler Elliott. I was born in I think it was the third largest city in Russia called Ekaterinburg. Upon my birth, I was put up for adoption, and I was moved from that city to another smaller village where I sat in a foster home for 11 months. And even before my birth, my parents, Tom and Lisa, had made the decision that they wanted to adopt a boy. So they went over, got me, and brought me here to a little town, Jackson, Southern Ohio, where I was part of Wesley United Methodist Church, and they really built my faith. And I knew that whenever I went to college, I wanted to do stuff with outreach or campus crusades or something like that. College life really started to hit me, and studying and the partying and everything kind of hit me in a whirlwind, and I realized that my foundation was not as strong as I thought. I kind of started down some paths I wasn't happy with. Just things are so accessible in college. Started making excuses for myself. I started getting very into alcohol abuse and partying. I got into marijuana, and I found myself going down a path that I knew God wasn't leading me or wasn't with me. I strayed. One night I had a serious anxiety attack that was brought on by my lack of sleep. I walked around Columbus for a little bit by myself. Even then, at 3 o'clock in the morning or something, God brought me to the steps of a Baptist church near where I live, and I sat down and I lit up a cigarette, and I was like just trying to de-stress. I finally got to a point where, I accepted I wasn't happy with the decisions I've made and the things I was doing, with my grades, with the relationships with the people I lived with. I wasn't the person I knew I wanted to be, my parents wanted to be, but most importantly what God wanted me to be. So I looked towards some people I looked up to, my father, and especially my brother, Cody, who had made leaps and bounds in the past couple of years, and he's been a real idol for me. At that moment, on the steps of that church, with a half-burnt cigarette in my mouth, I was like, God, what needs to be done? And so, in that moment, I made the decision that I was just going to quit. I was like, I'm going to stop all this substance. Since then, I have felt more fulfilled, and I've almost even felt like a newer man. I went to church the Sunday after I had this epiphany, and a little kid had been baptized, and I just stood up, and I wasn't waiting for the song to end because I was just filled with the Holy Spirit, and I had realized that the end may not be in sight, but the steps to get to the person I wanted to be was there. And baptism was definitely a major decision that I think brings that physical renewal. If you're struggling with anything, that's where you need to start thinking, is not how do I overcome the struggle, but how do I bring myself closer to Jesus and closer to the people who love me? Because the baptism is not going to wash away the temptation. It doesn't shrug Satan off and Satan's like, oh, I'm done with him. It's an ongoing battle. It wasn't so much that I was addicted or that I was obsessed with it, but it was, the major whole was, you struggle with anxiety, you struggle with depression, and you can't tell anyone. God obviously never wanted me in that position. God never wanted me to have an anxiety attack or have to turn to nicotine to suppress my anxiety, but in a way, God almost used it, and he said, this is where I want you, and this is where you're gonna make a change.